All right, hi guys. I thought I'd give you another update about the weather for this week of December the 5th, 2021. And remember, if you haven't joined my pro site yet, I invite you to do that. You'll get a lot of extra discussions there about the weather of the Ohio Valley. You can join there at www.patreon.com/Ohio Valley Weather. Well, as you know, one of the things that we've been looking at that is having an effect on our weather this year is La Nina. And so this is a current look at what's going on with the ENSO, or the El Nino Southern Oscillation. And as you can see, it's been holding pretty steady here since mid-November. We've been roughly around 0.8 degrees below normal and holding steady, which puts us in the range of a weak La Nina, and that seems to be holding true. And while it may drop a little bit, it looks like we're still going to be in the range of a weak La Nina. And regardless of that, the La Nina is holding steady with high pressure over the Pacific Ocean. And so remember, this high pressure is giving us a ridge out here, which is pushing precipitation up pretty far north, keeping dry conditions out here in the southwestern United States. And plus, this ridge then is pulling colder than normal temperatures here into the north central United States. And we've been getting a little bit of that here in the Ohio Valley, with our temperatures being slightly colder than normal, but for us, pretty close to normal. So let's keep going here. There's that ENSO again. Now let's look at the PNA. The PNA, of course, is that Pacific North American teleconnection. And this really is a good teleconnection to look at to see what we can expect in the eastern United States, including the Ohio Valley. So remember, when the PNA goes positive, like it was towards the end of November and up until like last week, when that goes positive, you end up with warmer than normal temperatures in the western United States, which forces the colder than normal temperatures into the east. But since about the 1st of December, the PNA has been going negative, which means we can expect to see colder than normal temperatures out in the west, and typically that means warmer than normal temperatures in the east. And you can see that the PNA is expected to stay negative for quite some time. Maybe around the middle of the month, we could expect the PNA to start trending towards positive. And if we follow this trend, that makes it look like maybe somewhere around December 20th, we might see that pattern flip again. Keep in mind, there does tend to be a delay with this. So when the PNA goes negative, like it did around December 1st, that doesn't necessarily mean that we immediately see a flip in the pattern, because in fact, we still have been having slightly colder than normal temperatures here in the east. And speaking of that, this is the temperature anomaly map for today. And I thought I'd take you out and show you what's going on with that temperature anomaly. So let's take a look at this. So here is that temperature anomaly map. Let's back this up to today. And let's just push this into the future. So you can see for today in the Ohio Valley, we're pretty much right at normal, very close to normal temperatures. But if we push this out a few days, we can see warmer than normal for a little bit, but then a little bit of cold comes in. And this is what I'm talking about with that delay. You can see even though the PNA has already gone negative, we're still having warmer than normal temperatures out in the west, which is going to force some cooler than normal temperatures into the east. This is for Tuesday the 7th. So we could see slightly colder than normal temperatures here. We're showing around 10 degrees colder than normal for most of the Ohio Valley around Tuesday the 7th and even into the 8th. And there is a slight chance that we could see some snow flurries on those days as well. It's certainly going to be cold enough. But if we keep pushing this out into the future, notice how the red here is starting to disappear and things are trending towards normal. This is showing that that PNA is going negative. And if I push it out even further, you can see the blues are starting to show up. And notice what's happening to the warmth. That warmth is getting pushed eastward towards the Ohio Valley and the eastern United States. Once we get out around the 10th, it's getting pretty cool out in the west and things are really starting to warm up. Look at this around the 11th. You see those really warm temperatures coming and look how cold it's got. There's that negative PNA out here and you can see what that's doing in the east. Look at this, 30 degrees above normal for Columbus, Ohio on December the 11th. So the normal temperature in Columbus, Ohio on December 11th is going to be right around 45 degrees. So if we would actually see a temperature 30 degrees above normal, that would mean we could see a temperature of 75 degrees in Columbus, Ohio. Now, do I think that's really going to happen? I don't know. That would be pushing it. But I think we're definitely going to see some warm temperatures next weekend. You can see by Sunday the 12th, still very warm, but the warmth is starting to push off to the east. But look how cold it is still out here. That's because of that negative PNA. And notice that just kind of stays for some time. We get maybe a little bit cooler off by the 13th, but then we see that the warm temperatures start moving back in even by the 16th or out to the middle of the month. Notice though, we do have some really cold air up here. And so if we could get this pattern to flip, that we could see that come into the eastern United States. And if I keep going out even further though, look at that. There's another warm up even around the 19th. So it really looks like for the Ohio Valley, we're going to see warmer than normal temperatures for at least the next week or two. Now let's go back. Let's go back to the presentation here and let's look at the AO. So the AO is the Arctic Oscillation. And you can see back at the end of November, the AO went strongly positive. So when the AO is positive, that means that the cold Arctic air pretty much stays locked up around the North Pole. We want that to go negative in order to get colder air down into the Ohio Valley. And so you can see the AO is forecasted to stay positive again through about the middle of the month. Maybe a slight downward trend here. And once again, we're thinking maybe by December the 20th, we could see that pattern flip back to a more winter-like pattern. But for now, the AO is saying the cold air is going to stay up in northern Canada. And speaking of that, here is the polar jet stream. And let's take another look at that. If we go back to here, we can see that polar jet stream on a loop. And so here we've got that same picture that we just saw. You can see right now pretty much a zonal flow west to east. The Ohio Valley is on the south side of the jet stream, which means we're tending to be in the actually warmer than normal air. We get a little bit of a dip here around the 7th. And you may remember that's that same time we saw the temperatures dip. And that's why it's looking like by Tuesday or Wednesday, we could see a little bit of snow as the polar jet stream dips below the Ohio Valley. But pushing forward beyond that, we go back to this zonal flow. You know, nothing much really going on that would indicate winter weather. And then here out around the 10th of December, looks like we're getting a little bit of this southeastern high, which sets up a ridge over here in the eastern United States. And that's when we saw that warm up. And that makes sense. That's going to be drawing this warmer air up from down around Texas. It's going to be pulling up into the Ohio Valley. So there's that warm up we're seeing again. Pushing forward, yes, still warm on the 11th. Even here, still on the 11th, we're on the warm side of that jet stream. pushing out down right there, maybe around the 12th or the 13th, we might see a little bit of a cool down, but that is really not a strong pattern for that. And then we're just back to that zonal flow again. And so it really doesn't look good for winter weather anytime soon for the Ohio Valley. If we keep pushing out, yeah, even out by the 18th, this would indicate warmer air coming into the Ohio Valley. And if we push out even further, out into the 20th, 21st, still a zonal flow, but this is when we could start to see the pattern flip back the other way. And notice there it is. We get a little bit of a trough there over the Ohio Valley. And look at that date up there. Wouldn't that be something? That's December 24th. And if we would see something like that, that could mean snow on Christmas Eve for the Ohio Valley. So right now that's looking like a possibility. I guess we'll have to wait and see, though. That's pretty far out at this point. All right, so let's go back to the presentation. And yeah, again, if you have not yet joined my pro site, you can do that at www.patreon.com/Ohio Valley Weather. I'll see you next week.